Bradford City begin their League One playoff campaign with an away clash against Stephen Schumacher's at Bolton Wanderers, and in today's video you're going to find out how both teams have got on so far this season, how each other got on against one another previously in this season, and also what my starting 11 would be for this game if I was Graham Alexander. If you do go on to enjoy, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. 150 likes on today's video would be massively appreciated, and don't forget to get your score predictions and starting 11 in down below. Now, as we all know, my team Bradford City, we finished 4th in the League One table. After the full 46 game season, we finished with 22 wins, 11 draws and 13 defeats, where we scored 58 goals and also conceded 51. That leaves us on a positive 7 goal difference and at 77 points. Their last couple of matches, our last couple of matches then, have been a 2-1 win away at Exeter City, a 1-1 draw at home at Bolton Wanderers, a 1-1 draw at home at Plymouth Argyle, a 2-2 draw away at Barnsley, and a 1-0 defeat at home to Stevenage FC. Compared though to our opponents at Bolton Wanderers, they finished the season in 5th position. After the full 46 game season, they managed 19 wins, 18 draws and 9 defeats, where they scored 70 goals and also conceded 52. That left them on a positive 18 goal difference and at 75 points. They finished the season though with a 3-2 defeat at home to Luton Town. Prior to that, they had that 1-1 draw away at Bradford City. They also had a 3-3 draw at home to Huddersfield Town, a 5-1 win at home to Stevenage FC, and a 2-0 defeat away at Cardiff City. So comparing between the two sides, obviously we won a couple more matches than Bolton. They drew a hell of a lot more games. I think the most amount of draws out of anybody in the division. The only team that's really close to them is Mansfield on at 17 draws. Obviously they lost a couple less games than us. They scored a lot more goals, also did concede a singular goal more. They finished the season with a much better goal difference than we did. They finished the season with the 3rd best goal difference in the entire division, but obviously finished on a lower points tally. They lost more games in their last 5. We've only picked up a single point more than them in our last 5. Neither team's really coming into this one on a fantastic form, but as we know, there's a lot of very talented players in both of these squads, and it's going to be a really exciting playoff match. Two of probably the biggest clubs in the division in terms of fan base and size and all that sort of stuff. Average attendance, I think we're the only 2 clubs in the division this season to have averaged over 20,000 for our home game, so I'm really looking forward to it, but it is going to be a really tough match. Let's have a look then at the previous 2 games between these sides this season. Obviously this fixture was only played on the 25th of April, so only a couple of weeks ago, and now we're coming up against Bolton once again. They took the lead on at 72 minutes, some great individual play from Johnny Kenny, sits down Curtis Tilt and whips it in the top corner from outside the penalty area, but 8 minutes later we will equalise with an equally fantastic goal, fantastic chest and volley. I think it was a chest and volley, might have been a flick up and volley, but from outside the penalty area from Caden Jackson. He's proved to be a very important signing for us since coming in January. In terms of who deserved more out of the game, I think a draw was definitely a fair result, but Bolton seemed to have a little bit more quality in that final third, and they looked more threatening when they were going forward, whereas Bradford City were maybe a bit more structured defensively, and we didn't really give Bolton too many clear-cut chances, whilst also not really creating loads ourselves. Looking at the stats from the game, it was fairly even. Bolton did slightly edge it in the majority of the statistics, and as you know, playoff advantage is so important. Home advantage is so important in the playoffs. So for Bolton to come away to Bradford City and be slightly the better side is quite concerning. We'll obviously have a look in a little bit more detail how good both of these sides are at home or away. But in terms of this game, I do think a point probably was deserved for Bradford City, especially when you look at our team here. We started with a back 4 for the first and only league game of the season. Aidan Baldwin playing out of position at right back, Josh Nerfield playing as a more natural winger, Humphreys playing as a natural winger as well. You're looking at no Anthony Sarsfield and Bobby Poynton in the entire matchday squad for Bradford City, our 2 top goal scorers this season, and also Tariq Wright, who's been outstanding this season and is a big positive for us if we are to play the back 3, which I think we will do in this first fixture against Bolton. The other league fixture between these two sides earlier on in the season did finish in a 0-0 draw. We were one of very few teams to keep a clean sheet away at Bolton earlier on in the season, but again, you look at the stats from this one, and in particular in the first half, we have seen it a couple of times this season where Bradford City have failed to register a shot in the first half. Now, if we get a draw, whatever that is, 0-0, 5-5 in the first leg, I would feel very confident with us coming back to Valley Parade and being able to get the job done in front of 25,000 on a Thursday night. But this is a little bit concerning, knowing that we didn't have a single shot in the first half. We made a couple of substitutions as well at half-time, so we need to make sure that we get the team selection absolutely spot on. And I think a point was a good result for us in this one, considering again where both teams were on the expectations of both teams at the start of the season. A point away at Bolton is certainly not something to be begrudged at. Second half was much more even. We gave it much more of a go, having obviously made those substitutions. Looking at our starting 11 on that day, obviously again there's a couple of players that are missing for Bradford City. There's no Aidan Baldwin, there's no Curtis Tilt, there's no Anthony Sarcevic. Obviously Caden Jackson wasn't signed by this point as well. Jensen Metcalf starting out of position, and Patterson getting the start as well, who obviously has since moved on from Bradford City. The same can be said though about that Bolton side. There's been a fair few changes in their team since this game, but again we've more than matched Bolton in a lot of the matches, apart from the first half of this specific fixture and the EFL Trophy game, which we'll come on to in a moment. I think we've got nothing to fear, and let's not forget we finished above Bolton Wanderers this season, so on paper we are a better side than them. Obviously that EFL Trophy fixture did finish in a 3-0 victory for Bolton. First knockout round of the EFL Trophy. Sissoko scoring a brace inside at 20 minutes, and Force also finding himself on the score sheet. I'm pretty sure he's going to miss the playoffs through injury. But again, we look at the stats from this one. Bolton were the better of the two sides. We created a little bit in this one. Not particularly loads though in the second half, where they were probably bringing on a few more of their first team players. But again, you look at Bradford City's team on this day, very, very interesting decisions here from Alexander. George Lapsley, an attacking midfielder, playing as a wing back. Neil Byrne getting a start as a wide side centre back. You got Lewis Richards starting as well, obviously he's no longer playing for Bradford City. Jensen Metcalf playing as a left midfielder, and obviously Humphreys playing as a lone striker. We're never really going to expect to get anything out of this when you look at the quality that's in that Bolton side. Yes, it is still a largely rotated team for them, but the difference in comparison between Bolton's first team and second team, it's not massive. You look at Bradford City at this point, the comparison between our best 11 and our second best 11, it was absolutely gigantic, and that's why when we picked up a few injuries, we were really struggling to win football matches. There was a period in this season where we went like about 20 games without drawing a game. I would absolutely snap your hand off for a draw in this first leg. Let's move on then to my starting 11 for this game. I did do a full breakdown over on the main channel, talking starting 11, tactics, system, all that sort of stuff, so feel free to go over and check that out. Here is my starting 11 for this game. I'm not going to go through and reveal it position by position like we normally do, because like I say, I did that yesterday over on the main channel, but I think we're definitely going to need to play a back 3, back 5, whatever you want to call it, against Bolton. We need to give ourselves some more support in those wide areas where Kazia Dubra and Sissoko are going to be dribbling. If they get 1v1, they can certainly be very dangerous. I think Joe Wright has to play to deal with the physicality of a Kenny or a Dolby that might potentially play Baldwin with his brilliant passing ability. Curtis Tilt, absolute monster at the back as well. You look at the midfield, Josh Nerfield's going to be incredibly important for Bradford City. Left back is certainly their weakest position, whether it's Johnston or Conway. They make a lot of mistakes, and Nerfield's pace is going to be integral for Bradford City. Power and Metcalf have built a brilliant partnership in the centre of the park, so again, they both do start for me. Ibu Torre at left back, one of the first names on the team sheet, obviously, with definitely Bobby Poynton and probably Tariq Wright going to miss this first leg. Ibu Torre, I think even if Wright was available, Torre would still be playing for me, because in both league games against Kazia Dubra, he's not really had much of a sniff, and we know Kazia Dubra is one of the best players in the entire division, but Torre has done excellently against him in both of the league games this season, so for me, absolutely has to play. And then the front three, I do think picks itself. Sarcevic, our top scorer for the season, we all know how important he has been, scored what proved to be the winner as well against Exeter last weekend, and obviously there's a bit of needle in this one for South, given that there's still some Bolton fans that don't like him because of his fallout with Ian Ever and all that sort of stuff, but he's been brilliant for Bradford City this season, 14 goal contributions, and he's an absolute joy to watch. George Lapsley, again, providing a lot of energy down at that left hand side. When you think Sars and Torre not the quickest, but Lapsley and Nerfield are, I think it makes sense to contrast between those two, and obviously Sars and Nerfield have built up a good relationship down the right hand side. Lapsley, since coming back into the team a couple of weeks ago, has really taken his opportunity and deserves this start. Again, with Bobby Poynton missing, we really need Lapsley to pop up, hopefully, with his first league goal of the season. And then Jackson, the striker, again, that certainly does pick itself. 2 in his last 2, 3 since signing from Derby on a permanent in January, and obviously missed 6-8 weeks of the season through injury. And again, I've said it before, if he didn't pick up that injury, I really do think we would have pushed Cardiff City a lot closer for that second position. But that would be my starting 11. On the bench, I'd have the likes of Joe Hill, Hilton, Harrison Ashby, Matt Pennington, Lee Evans, Stephen Humphreys, Nick Powell, and also Will Swan. I think that's a really good balanced bench, and there's certainly enough quality to come on off the bench and change the game. As we know, Tyreek Wright and Bobby Poynton are both going to be missing this game. Wright might be back for the second leg. I don't think Poynton will be. Poynton might make the final, but would you then really want to risk him? Either way, two obviously very important players for Bradford City, and hopefully we can get them back as quick as possible. So the players missed out then through selection would be the likes of Kieran Kelly, Joe White, Louis Sibley, Paul Mullin, and also Ethan Wheatley. I don't think anybody's looking at any of them 5 players and thinking they need minutes in the playoffs. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 150 likes, as I said at the start of today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below your score prediction and starting 11 for this match. If you're interested in my score prediction, head over to More SHD, where we're previewing both this game and also the Stevenage Stockport game and giving my entire League One predictions. Who do I think will get promoted into the Championship? Thank you all for watching though. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.